Some stories are true crime, some are paranormal. But here, you won't just hear them, you'll live them. Put on your headphones. Welcome to what lurks in the shadows. The Cascade Mountains stretched endlessly in every direction, their peaks disappearing into a gray October sky that promised rain. I'd planned this 3-day solo loop for months, a chance to disconnect, to think, to breathe air that didn't taste of exhaust and anxiety. The trail markers grew sparse as I ventured deeper into the wilderness, each mile taking me further from civilization, further from safety. By the second day, my legs burned with the familiar ache of a good hike. The trail had become little more than deer paths and intuition. When I found the stream, crystal clear water singing over smooth stones, I knew I'd found my campsite. The sound would mask my presence from any wildlife, and the small clearing offered just enough flat ground for my tent. No one around for miles, I thought, setting up camp as the sun pled orange through the canopy. Perfect. The fire crackled as darkness swallowed the forest whole. I ate my dehydrated meal in peaceful solitude, watching sparks dance upward to join the stars. The stream's gentle murmur lulled me into the deepest sleep I'd had in months. Then came the footsteps. My eyes snapped open to absolute darkness. The digital clock on my phone read 2:17 a.m. The stream still babbled. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Slow, deliberate, human. I held my breath, every muscle in my body rigid with terror. These weren't the chaotic scrambles of a raccoon, of the heavy shambling gait of a bear. These were the calculated steps of someone trying to move quietly and failing. The footsteps circled my tent, around and around, like a predator studying prey. I could track the sound as it moved from my left, past my feet, to my right, then up near my head. The person, God, there was actually someone out here, was taking their time. No flashlight beam penetrated my tent walls. No voice called out a greeting or explanation. Just those methodical, patient footsteps crunching through autumn leaves. My heart hammered so hard I was certain they could hear it. My sleeping bag felt like a straitjacket, trapping me in polyester and down. The tent zipper might as well have been miles away. If I moved, if I made even the slightest sound, what would happen? The footsteps stopped. The silence that followed was worse than the sound. At least when I could hear them, I knew where they were. Now, they could be anywhere, right outside my tent wall, watching, waiting. Minutes crawled by like hours. every small sound, the tent fabric shifting in the breeze, the stream's babble, my own ragged breathing, seemed amplified in the darkness. I strained my ears until they ached, listening for any hint of movement, any clue that I was still being watched. Eventually, exhaustion won over terror. My eyelids grew heavy despite my fear, and I drifted into a fitful sleep, plagued by nightmares of faceless figures stalking through dark woods. Dawn came, gray and cold. I unzipped my tent with trembling fingers, half expecting to find someone standing there, waiting for me. The clearing was empty, morning mist rising from the stream like ghosts. That's when I saw them. Boot prints, deep impressions in the soft earth, circling my tent in a perfect ring. The tread was different from my hiking boots, smoother, more worn. As I studied the tracks, my stomach dropped. These weren't random wanderings. The pattern was too precise, too deliberate. Someone had indeed circled my tent. I followed the prints with growing dread. They led away from my campsite, winding between trees until I found it. 20 feet away, hidden behind a massive Douglas fir, was a makeshift shelter. A tarp stretched between branches, sides weighted down with rocks. Underneath, a sleeping bag lay crumpled and stained. Empty food wrappers scattered the ground. Brands I recognized, the same ones I carried in my pack. But it was the notebook that made my hand shake. Spiral bound, water damaged, filled with cramped handwriting. I flipped through pages of disjointed ramblings, sketches of trees and mountains, fragments of thoughts that made no sense. But on page after page, written over and over in increasingly erratic script, was my name. Sarah, 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 Sarah. How did they know my name? I told no one my exact route, hadn't registered at any ranger stations. Yet here it was, my name repeated hundreds of times, sometimes neat, sometimes jagged and angry, sometimes traced so hard the pen had torn through the paper. The final entry was dated yesterday, the day I'd arrived.
She's here. Finally here. Sarah came to me, just like I knew she would.
I dropped the notebook like it was on fire. My hands wouldn't stop shaking as I stuffed everything into my pack, not caring about organization or weight distribution. I had to get out, now. The hike out became a blur of panic and adrenaline. 14 miles of steep terrain that I covered in record time, constantly looking over my shoulder, jumping at every shadow. Every tree could hide a figure. Every sound could be footsteps. I never filed a report with the rangers. How could I explain that someone in the middle of nowhere had been watching me, following me, writing my name? I never went back to the Cascades. I never went camping alone again. But sometimes late at night, I wonder if they're still out there, still waiting, still writing my name in that water-damaged notebook, page after page after page. And sometimes, I swear, I can still hear those footsteps, slow and deliberate, circling my house in the dark. If this story unsettled you, follow What Lurks in the Shadows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening now.